Shabbat Shalom. Today is a good day. Lance Kukas became bar mitzvah. We got to celebrate with this big, beautiful family. Today is a good day. You woke up this morning. Today is a good day. You opened up your pantry and there was more than enough food for you to eat. Today is a good day. You woke up and you had a roof over your head. Today is a good day. This past Wednesday night into Thursday, we marked Yom HaShoah, the day of Holocaust and heroism remembrance. As the grandchild of Holocaust survivors, the day takes a special place in my annual calendar. Of course, it is a day of remembering, a day of mourning and lamenting. It is a day of vowing never again. It's also a day for me to take note of where we are in the world now. 100 years ago, at Congregation Shaarey, Zedek, it wasn't so easy to be a Jew. Father Coughlin's voice rang out through the airwaves not only of Detroit, but throughout the country. As time went on, Henry Ford's voice was added, and anti-Semitism really played a role. The KKK was active in those days. Then, of course, 80 years ago in Europe with the Holocaust, a bar mitzvah was not even something that anyone really spoke of. How could you have a bar mitzvah? You were just trying to survive. My grandparents, of blessed memory, came here with nothing but the clothes on their back and a baby in their arms. Thanks to the JDC, thanks to Hebrew Free Loan, they were able to build slowly, a life. And here we are. As Jews in America, we've made it. As Americans, we've made it. Look how far we've come. Look how much we've accomplished. Today is a good day. Yet around us, anger rages. We Americans are an angry people. If you look at the research, our levels of anger in the last 12 years or so have risen dramatically. We are more and more angry. Despite everything we have, despite everything we've done, despite all that we've accomplished and the changes we've made, we Americans, we're angry. Now, if you look at the research, you come to see that a little bit of anger is okay. Anger helps us express our thoughts and our emotions to those around us. Anger helps us to communicate. Anger helps us to focus our thoughts so that we can right certain wrongs. Anger among friends, anger among family, anger among coworkers. This is what we might call ordinary anger. When it's expressed in a healthy manner, it's wonderful. Anger can solve problems. Of course, when it's expressed in an unhealthy manner, or when it's bottled up inside, anger can cause real tsuris and stress. Anger causes real problems. And then when you have certain leaders or certain modes of communication that take the anger that we have, and all of us have anger. We order from Amazon, and sometimes it takes a long time to get here. We order at the restaurants, and sometimes we expect the food to be ready immediately, and it's not, so we're angry. But there's real stuff to be angry about. And when our leaders rally that anger together, perhaps about unemployment, perhaps about racism, perhaps about anti-Semitism, when our leaders or various modes of communication bring our anger together, it can be profoundly healthy. We might call this next level of collective anger righteous rage or righteous indignation. Righteous indignation led to child labor laws and protecting kids. Righteous indignation led to women's right to vote. Righteous indignation led to the end of slavery and then our battle against racism. Righteous indignation can be good. But righteous indignation can be toxic as well. And I think much of what we're seeing over the last dozen years or so is righteous indignation that has become toxic. Because rather than taking our righteous indignation and trying to use it to make the world a better place, we are reflecting it only in our echo chambers of social media and just exacerbating our anger. Anger is healthy when it's used to try to solve problems. Anger is healthy when it's used to try to make the world a better place. But when we're just talking with people who are as angry as we are and we're not solving anything, then our anger is only multiplying. And when certain leaders come forward, when certain communication tools are used, then even that righteous indignation which can be used for good is turned into evil. When righteous rage is turned into revenge, now we have problems. Because revenge is not about alleviating my pain. Revenge is about causing you pain because I'm angry. When it's no longer about fixing the problem and it's about inflicting pain, now we have revenge. Now we have January 6th. Now we have Charlottesville. Now we have the Holocaust. When our righteous indignation turns into revenge, that's when we really have problems. And I might suggest in this country, the heat is being turned up. And our righteous indignation is beginning to turn toward revenge. Because it's no longer about solving the problems, it's about inflicting pain. Because we've lost trust in the people and the institutions that are used to solve our problems. And so we think our problems can't be solved anymore. And there's a lot of blame to go around, right? Political leaders, cable news, even our newspapers, are more interested in stoking the fans of hatred and anger because it's good for their business. And they're more interested in that than in solving problems. I was thinking about that this week as we come to our Torah portion, Parashat Acharei Mot. In our Torah portion, it talks about the Yom Kippur ritual, to a certain extent, which we know well. On Yom Kippur in the Torah, it says to fast. Today, in 2022, 5782, we fast. It says in the Torah that you shall make a guilt offering for yourselves on that day. We spend the entire day of Yom Kippur at prayer, expressing to God our guilt. We recognize we've made mistakes. But in our Torah, they add something interesting. The high priest would take his hands and he'd lay it on a second goat, one not to be sacrificed. And around one of the goat's horns was tied a red string. And the high priest would confess onto that goat all the sins of the Jewish people. And if the Jewish people were then cleansed by God of their sins, that red string tied around the horn would turn white. And they would take this goat and they would send it out into the wilderness. It's known as the goat of Azazel. And in that way, not only were we each individually forgiven of our sins, we confessed and were forgiven of our sins, but the entire community could be forgiven of its sins as well and purified, literally removed the sins from among us. Because we humans are social creatures. We survive by helping each other. We fail because of our failures in how we treat each other. There needed to be a way of purifying that from among us. And our ancestors trusted that process. And they knew that after the Yom Kippur day, that not only were we individually forgiven of our sins, but that we collectively were cleansed of our misdeeds, and we could not only ask God to forgive us, we could begin to forgive each other. Because we recognized in each other imperfections. I'm going to tell you something. You're imperfect. I'm imperfect too. Ask my wife and kids. I'm imperfect too. Right? So we have to have a way of forgiving each other and of trusting each other. Now, does anyone know what they call in English that goat of Azazel that we placed upon its head our sins and we sent it off into the wilderness? We call it the scapegoat. Because the translation is scapegoat, that over time just became the scapegoat. When righteous indignation turns to revenge, when we use not an animal upon which to place our sins and send it off into the wilderness for destruction as the scapegoat, but we choose people, we choose communities, we choose nations to become our scapegoat. That's when righteous indignation turns to revenge. That's when we seek not to solve our problems, but to inflict pain upon others. That's when you have January 6th, and that's when you have Charlottesville, and that's when you have the Holocaust. What today can we use as a healthy scapegoat? In some ways, it helps to have an enemy. As a country, you have an enemy. You can rally together. But we even have the Russians invading Ukraine, and we can't rally around that. Because it's not good for our political leaders, because it's not good for the media, because it's not good, certainly, for social media. What can we turn to today as a healthy scapegoat? Today, I offer you a sermon without a clear answer. But I know if we can't figure out what the healthy scapegoat is, then our righteous indignation that we are feeling today, and we deserve to have righteous indignation, there's a lot wrong with this country. There's a lot wrong with us. But if we don't have a healthy scapegoat, righteous indignation becomes revenge. And then we really have problems. We are now in the Shabbat in between Yom HaShoah, Holocaust and Heroism Remembrance Day, and this coming week in which we will mark Yom HaZikaron and Yom HaAtzmaut, Israeli Memorial Day and Israeli Independence Day. And at the heart of Israel, this thesis statement of Zionism, are the words from Hatikva, which is actually a riff on a biblical text. Od lo avda hatikva. Our hope is not yet lost. And of course, we know, as we say, the Otam Chofshi Ba'artzenu, our hope to be a free people in our land, Eretz Zion v'Yerushalayim, the land of Zion and Jerusalem. At the heart of the Zionist dream is hope, because hope prevents revenge. Hope offers trust in each other and in the institutions that are meant to lead us. And if there's anything that we can do going forward as we try to figure out maybe a healthy scapegoat, is to take that hope, to take that optimism, and to internalize it, and to share it with others. Because you know what? Look around. Today is a really good day. Shabbat Shalom.